Crank it up. CMS TV has got it going on as always. This is Jesse James Dupree saying, tune it up, plug it in, strap it on, and crank it up. Pa-pow!
It's the band right here with Take a Look. Wait a minute. That's Tim James, TJ James with Sting of the Whip. Coming from his latest release, Solidify. And joining us on the studio cam is our good friend TJ James, Tim James. Welcome to the Classic Metal Show there, Tim.
Good afternoon or good evening, gentlemen.
What's going on, sir?
Oh, well, I'm coming on the CMS. That's what's going on. and the audio's working, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Did you bring a spoon drag with you?
No. I would have brought an orange soda since you've just been to the McDonald's museum.
Exactly.
Well, Tim, obviously, man, in all seriousness, as much as we love to beat you up sometimes on the show and whatnot, you are a musician. You do have a new record. We took the piss out of it a little bit a couple weeks ago, but we wanted to give you a chance to come on and talk about it seriously. So let's talk about it, man. Tell everybody about the record and when you started recording it, and catch everybody up.
Well, the new record is called Solidify, and we probably started it, a year and a half ago or something like that.
Okay.
Yep.
And when you say we, who's we?
Oh, well, I work with a guitar player that's played on all my stuff since 1995, Matt Davis. And he plays all the guitars, and he did all the backing harmonies on the record. I remember last time you guys were saying how good his voice was. And you're exactly right. He's outstanding. He's my best friend. We've been best friends since like 1989. But he's not playing on the record because he's my best friend. He's playing on the record because he's unbelievable.
Right on. Well, dude, so you started working on this thing a year and a half ago. What does that mean exactly? Is that just when you started writing songs, or you started demoing music, or what happened a year and a half ago?
The actual writing probably started itself 2 years ago, So I did the last record, No Apologies, which we released in 2019, and I just basically got straight into writing. And the only time I ever stop writing is when I'm recording a record.
Okay.
So once we've decided on the songs that are going to be on the next record, that's when I stop, and that's when we start recording. So yeah, the actual process to put all this together was probably 2 years.
Well, when you do your writing, Tim, again, I don't know what your personal skill set is, but do you actually write music, write notes and charts and all that kind of thing, or are you just a lyricist, or how does your process work?
No, I can write notes, and there's programs like Sibelius, which are amazing programs that help me with that stuff. But no, I write the whole song. I write all the music and all the chords and everything, and I basically write it on my keyboard with and come up with vocal lines and come up with riffs that way, and then I take those riffs and take those arrangements to Matt, and then Matt might say, oh, can we make this a bit shorter, or can we do this, can we do that? So Matt definitely helps with some of the arrangements, but all of the songs are written before we even start recording.
Right on. Do you, or let me go a different way. How do you determine what the music's going to sound like. And I'll just be honest, from what we know, and we obviously have known you for a long time, this doesn't sound like the bands that you generally listen to for enjoyment. It's a different sound than the Motley Crues of the world. How do you write outside of what it is that you like?
Well, because for example, with using Motley Crue as an example, I mean, I don't sing like Vince Neil.
Thank God.
Yeah, my voice is completely different. I don't have that range. If you're talking about metal singers like Halford or Dio, I don't sound like anything like those guys. So what I do is take the essence of that, like the big rock sound, and put it into my framework, if that makes sense.
Well, how would you describe your particular genre of music? Because there's all kinds of flavors in there. I was kind of joking, at the beginning here that song sounded like Robbie Robertson of the band, and
yeah,
or something. It sounds very similar to that. And then when we were kind of checking out the new disc, one of the songs that we played, I don't remember which one it was, but it sounded like Cinderella, like the beginning of a Cinderella song. And it's like a whole eclectic mix of different flavors. It's not a consistent sound. So how would you describe your sound, or what are you going for?
Well, just on that, when you were talking about the Cinderella thing, with the song's called Knock on Wood, and the riff goes dun dun, it has got a very Somebody Save Me thing, which I thought was very cool that you picked that up. I mean, I absolutely wear my influences on my sleeve. I'm not shy about it. But I mean, there's big rock sounding stuff, there's ballads, there's mid-pace stuff, there's acoustic guitars, there's all kinds of different flavors, because I don't want to have a one-dimensional record. As much as I love bands like AC/DC and the like, I don't want to be that. In the sense that I want to be like musically adventurous. I don't want a record that's like every song's the same from beginning to end. Light and Shade is very cool.
Right. What there in Australia, because obviously we're not there, and it's a couple miles from here for sure. But what is the scene like? Is there a decent scene, not necessarily for your music per se, but for original music? Because I could tell you, here in the States, it's damn near impossible to break independently, and even play anymore here. If you're not playing covers, they don't even want to hear you. What is the scene like there?
Look, it's tough. I'm not going to lie. But what I do at my shows, my solo shows, what I do is I play, 5 or 6 of my own songs and a bunch of covers,
Right.
And fortunately, my songs, because they're 3-minute songs with choruses that are hopefully people will remember, they kind of fit in with the other stuff I play.
Okay.
So because I am trying to write commercial pop rock, classic rock songs,
Right. Right. Do people that are at the gigs, do they come up to you after and buy material, buy CDs, or even ask you, is that original or is that a cover?
They do.
Okay.
The coolest thing is when somebody, and it's happened to me quite often, somebody that you don't know from a bar of soap comes up to you and says, what song's that? Where was that? Who sang that? Where can I get that? And that's when what you're doing is working for Joe Public. My audience isn't necessarily just a metal or a hard rock audience.
Right.
Because I don't just listen to metal and hard rock. I mean, Motley Crue is my favorite band, but I'll listen to Mellencamp, I'll listen to Bryan Adams, I'll listen to Ed Sheeran, I'll listen to Billy Joel. I just want to be a great songwriter, period.
Perfect. Well, Tim, do you fancy yourself a vocalist?
I think my voice is unique. I don't think my voice is necessarily fabulous. I think it's unique. I am aiming to, get my songs sung or covered by other artists that can really sing. But that being said, I'm still working on my voice constantly and my keyboard playing constantly, and I've got a hell of a vocal coach. And but the one thing I will say is I don't think I try to copy anyone else with my voice.
So what would the better end goal be here for you? Would it be to have one of your songs picked up by somebody well known, or would it be for you to be discovered?
The main reason I do my records is because I love creating and all that stuff, but is to raise money and awareness for CP and the cerebral palsy organizations that I work with, and also so that people can hear my songs. My goal has never been to be a superstar. It would suit me greatly if we could get somebody else to sing my material and I was just the writer guy. My goal is to be like a Desmond Child or a Mark Lang or a Holly Knight or one of those people.
Right.
I'm not doing this to be famous. I'd be quite happy to be writing behind the scenes.
Perfect. Well, I know that you've played with other people. What was that, Johnny and the Rough Riders?
Johnny and the Easy Riders, yeah.
Yeah. So what happened to that gig? What's the story there? I know that, do you like being in a band situation, or do you prefer doing what you're doing solo per se?
That band, or most of the members of that band are still going. We're in a new band called Recovery Band. Basically the guy that we were playing with, John, he just, by his own admission, he didn't want to practice. He didn't want to rehearse. He didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to see whatever gigs came our way. So we basically said, okay, well, if that's, we rehearsed for a whole year and he didn't rehearse with us. So basically we just said, we're going to move on. We're going to buy a PA. We're going to get a female singer, which we've done. The band's now called Recovery Band. But to be honest, I don't enjoy playing in the covers band at all. I do it purely for the money. I enjoy my solo gigs a lot more because I get to play my own stuff as well as other people's, and there's a lot more flexibility. But no, I don't like playing in the covers band at all.
Is it hard to get original gigs though? Because I know here it's damn near impossible unless you're saying that you're going to play, songs that people know.
Well, that's exactly why I do gigs. I mean, I get paid for my gigs and I get paid well, but that's exactly why I do covers as well as my own material in the same gig. And and when an opportunity comes up, and I think there might be an opportunity for me coming up in December that my manager's organizing for me to go and play for 20 minutes of just original material at this theater in Sydney for a few, for $500. So hopefully that'll happen. Things like that happen.
Okay. Very good, man. Well, dude, you mentioned that you're involved in a lot of the CP organizations, and I know we busted your balls forever about CP, for the 15 years or whatever we've known you. But, in all seriousness, and you and I have talked about this off the air, but never on the air, talk a little bit about what you're involved in and why you've decided, and this is more the point, why you've decided to be not only public about it, but public about your own situation and not shy away from it.
Because all of the artists that I loved as a kid and still love, they were all real. I do have cerebral palsy. I fully embrace it, and I hopefully can raise money and awareness and help others to believe that anything's possible through what I do. And the analogy that I always use is that nobody buys Stevie Wonder's music because he's blind. Either the music's good or it's not. So if I didn't think I had the songs, I wouldn't be doing this. 20% from every stream and every download from across my catalog since Able Bodied in 2001, and this is my 8th record now, is donated to the Cerebral Palsy Alliance, and I'm proud of it, and I embrace it, because anybody that sees me, the minute they see me walking somewhere, even if I'm going to go and get an orange soda, it's not like I can get around it. So it is what it is.
Do they help you? I know you're helping them, but it would seem like, especially 8 records in and 8 times donating to an organization, it would seem like they might help you, like by saying, hey, there's a new record, and this guy helps us out.
They do. They help me with all kinds of promotion. I've played all kinds of gigs for them, some of which have been paid for, some of which I haven't, but that's fine. Yeah, no, I get exposure through it. On my website there is, I've been interviewed on national television about it. I've been interviewed on the news about it. It's everywhere. So it's a win-win.
Well, when it comes to recording music, Tim, we live in an era where it's here today and it's gone later today. And, so many artists now are reconsidering or rethinking releasing full albums these days, and obviously with the use of digital outlets like Spotify and Pandora and that kind of thing, people can access, music. Does it make sense to make a full record these days?
Well, it does to me.
Okay.
Because all of the bands that I loved and grew up on, they were all about, building a catalog of work. And I want to build a body of work. And if you release a song at a time, it's very hard to build a body of work. And I think Kip Winger the other day, they've just recently, Winger's just released a new record, and they were asking him, well, why do you bother? Why do you do it? He said, because I'm an artist, and that's what artists do. They create. He said, I'm not doing this to become, a millionaire. I'm doing it because I have to do it.
Right on. Definitely. Well, and dude, doing it this way for you, does it give you a better opportunity to push your songs to potential organizations that might take the songs and use them, if you have albums worth of songs, so that they don't think that you're just like a flash in the pan, here's a song that we like, but they might consider you, for longer term use as a writer, because you could say, well, here's this and here's this and here's this.
Absolutely. The more catalog you have, the better your opportunities. The more people can see that you're in this for the long haul and you're serious about what you do, the more potential there is for other parties to work with you and invest in you, which is, there's something happening to me right now that's the biggest professional opportunity I've ever had in my life. So, and that's because I've worked for a long time, and a lot of people at my church were praying about it, but I've worked for a very, very long time, and one of my teachers from the Australian Institute of Music, which I'm about to graduate from in November, has backed me because he believes in my songwriting a great deal. And now we announced it the other day, I'm going to get to work with a ARIA award-winning singer-songwriter, Rick Price. The ARIAs are like the Australian version of the Grammys. The guy's had #1 hits. He spends 9 months of the year in Nashville and 3 months of the year in Australia. And he, through my teacher, because they're best friends, he has heard my material and thinks my material is really something. And he thinks I can use different production techniques to contemporize what I do, but he thinks my songs, the songs within themselves are really something. And he wants to work with me, and we're going to be working together from January, and with the potential to put my material forward. And it's not clear at this stage whether I'll be singing the material or somebody else will be singing the material. I'm open to whatever happens with it. I just want to learn and grow and be the best songwriter I possibly can and do the best things possible for my career moving forward. But I mean, this has got the potential to get a publishing deal for me, or where I can get paid to write songs, or other music business opportunities that I could never only have ever have dreamed of.
Well, have you ever considered doing jingle work, Tim? Writing jingles for commercials or anything like that? Is that of any interest to you, or you just like to do songs?
I'd be more than happy to do jingle work. Writing jingles would be the same as writing catchy choruses for pop songs.
Right.
You've just got to know all that stuff. I'm open to all of that. I don't want to be, I don't want to, I just want to say yes and do things and try things. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Doesn't work. But at least you've had a go.
Right. When you say that you're going to be working with an ARIA artist, what does that mean exactly? Writing with or recording or what?
Yeah, we're working it out what all of that means at the moment. There's a budget in place that we're going to use. The budget's not huge. I've been given some money towards this. The budget's not huge, so we just got to work out exactly how it's going to work. But and Rick and I and my manager have still got to meet together and talk about it. He's playing a show in Sydney in October. I'm going to go and meet him. And we've talked several times, but we've just got to. We're not exactly sure what it's going to look like, but it's still a huge opportunity for me.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, and with doing that, do you look at? Are you kind of putting everything sort of on hold to see what that turns into, or are you working Solidify and hoping that this turns into something, or what?
Oh, I'm working Solidify. Believe me, we've sent press releases to all the where on the 6th of October is International Day for CP. Okay. So cerebral palsy. So we have sent press releases to every major news outlet, and we're sending press releases to radio and television all over the place in Sydney and Melbourne. I'm working this as hard as I can. You got to do both.
Right on. Definitely.
Does your wife realize you're in the middle of a very important interview?
Yeah. I told her that.
That's funny.
Everybody wants to be a star, Tim.
That's right. She's auditioning for your video.
I'm not. Well, funnily enough, we might be doing a video for Lucia. So, yeah. Hopefully, we're going to do a music video, probably early next year.
All right.
So
very cool, dude. Tell me a little bit, just because I don't know.
Yeah.
What does the Australian government, if anything, do to help, like, with the arts? Because here they do nothing. Here they couldn't give a shit if you're a guitar player or you want to be a musician. They just don't care. But am I wrong in thinking that Australia does help you to grow it as an artist?
Well, if they do, I've never seen any money.
Okay.
I mean, they talk about how they're giving earlier this year, our Labor government, which I think is the same as the Democrat government over there,
Okay.
They said, "Oh, we're giving billions of dollars to the arts." Well, I haven't seen any of it, so.
Well, I know in Sweden they're really big on developing the artists and the music, and they have all kinds of schools and all kinds of assistance for artists over there. Because what was it, Chris, back in 05, like between 05 and 2009 or something, there was like an influx of bands out of Sweden.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all those Swedish metal bands.
They all told us that basically they were helped by the Swedish government that sponsored their, music development and getting records out and things like that. So I think that's where Chris was kind of going with the question.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say the Australian government helped me go to school here, helped me go to the Australian Institute of Music. So in that sense, yes, but if you earn over, and I've got no problem with this at all, but if you earn over a certain amount of money here, you've got to pay all that back, which I have no problem with. If an education like I got at the Australian Institute of Music can help me further my career and get more income for myself and my family, I'm happy to pay it back.
Right on. Dude, how hard is it to break out of Australia? Because as somebody that's lived in several places around the world, Australia is just far from everything.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, it's a very long plane flight. And here, I think from here it's like 18 hours or some crazy number. But even when I lived in the Far East, it was far. Is it difficult to branch out of there, or do you really have to rely on the internet in order to be heard because you're really so isolated?
Well, it's funny. I mean, obviously shows like this really help me get the word out. But you've just got to push as hard as you can, wherever you are. I think the internet's made everything a lot more accessible, but also there's a lot more noise on the internet. The one thing that the record companies used to do, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, were, they could take a band and put them in front of a mass audience,
right?
And obviously, there are a lot of talented bands that benefited from that, but there was also a lot of bands that got signed that and it all led to nothing. I mean, I can give you examples of Australian bands that I know that had the record deal with Warner and had opportunities. One of my friends' bands supported Van Halen on the 1998 Van Halen 3 tour.
Okay.
And Van Halen was so impressed with that band that they asked them to go to Europe with them, but Warner's wouldn't put up the money. So it's this industry is tough. It's just but if you go in with your eyes open, you never know what's possible. I mean, and this is kind of what I do, so I just keep doing it.
Well, let's talk about the recording of this new record, Solidify. Where did you do this? Where did you do this recording? I mean, did you actually go to a professional studio, or did you do it in a home style studio, or how did that work for you?
No, well, this Solidify was recorded exactly where you see me now.
Okay, so it's a home studio.
It's, my little home bedroom studio, which I call Platinum Studio or Rocket Studios. But, it was all done with basically MIDI, because the drum samples you can get now from, software companies like TuneTrack and Native Instruments. The drum samples you can get. I mean, the drum samples that I use, for example, were through this company called TuneTrack, and they've got this brand called Superior Drummer, right? And all of the drum samples were recorded at Bob Rock's studio in Vancouver that Bryan Adams owns, by the drummer from Nickelback. So I use a lot of MIDI stuff purely because I'm basically working out of my bedroom. And Matt, what happens is, so everything samples apart from the guitars, and I guess my keyboard is samples too, because I play keyboard, and a keyboard by its very nature is sampled. So Matt, I send the basic demos to Matt, and then Matt puts his guitar on, and we work via Zoom. And because he's in Canberra, where I used to live, I live in Sydney now. So and he sends me all the stems, and I put the stems in, and I work with it that way. So and that's the very same way that I'm going to be working with Rick. Rick's going to be in his studio in Nashville, and I'm going to be here, and that's what we're going to do.
Right.
Well, if you're going to continue using that little room for your recording, you need to get some acoustic panels on the wall there, so you don't get that big ambient sound.
Yeah. I'm gonna try all kinds of stuff next time, including sending it to you two. Because the reality is, and we're also renting here, so whether I can actually put things on the walls or not, I'm not sure. I've got to clear all that because we don't own where we live. So I will be reaching out to you, and I do have a network of people, but again, I'm working with no budget whatsoever, and I don't have access to studios or studio rooms. So I just have to kind of do the best I can with what I have, and and grow, and try and grow as much as possible.
Right on, man. Well, dude, where should we tell people to go to keep up with you and to buy some merchandise, if there's merchandise available, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, hopefully my audience will grow to warrant merchandise, but tjjames.com.au, TJ James Music on Facebook, TJ James Music on Twitter. I'm everywhere. My music's everywhere. It's Spotify, on every single digital platform, and YouTube. You just Google it. If you Google TJ James Solidify, you will find me, or just TJ James.
Right on. Look at that. Respect to you. Look at that. Wow.
Oh, wow. It's the first time for everything.
Well, if you do a remaster reissue of this Solidify, would you consider changing it to Junk Punch?
Yes, I the Junk Punch Loud remix.
Will you put one out at regular speed and one out at 1.5 speed?
It'll be a 2 CD set.
The deluxe reissue. Nice.
I thought Junk Punch was much more gooder.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well. I'll try to be a bit faster next time, Neely.
Right. All right, Tim. Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes and talking to us and bringing people up to date with what's going on with you and the release of this new CD, I guess, recording, Solidify, which you can find on most digital outlets. I'm playing it here off of the old Spotify, and go support Tim and his efforts to follow his passion and his dreams, and be an artist and be a writer, do whatever it is that he needs to do. The guy obviously doesn't give up, even with the brutality that we gave him a couple of weeks ago, and we appreciate him being a good sport and coming on the show.
Believe me, I'm much more scared about AI than I am about you two.
I hear that.
Yeah, AI is just wow. That's a whole new. I don't know how we're going to deal with that at all.
It's basically the Antichrist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
All right, Tim. Well, we'll let you pick a closing track off this new release. So, what should we play and why?
Well, considering that you told me it sounded like Cinderella, which I actually took as a compliment, why don't we play Knock on Wood?
All
right. Well, again, the new release is called Solidify. So here it is. It's TJ James with Knock on Wood exclusively here. What, Tim?
On your classic metal show.